invitation is for Linda and me to each share some thoughts we have on the topic of sanctuary, and then to invite you to talk together and respond back of what sanctuary might mean to you. And Hank wanted to know if I was beginning. I'm beginning. Okay? Okay?
That's good. All right.
When Linda Kay and I spoke about this service, we were intrigued by an article in this fall's UU World. Personal Discovery Within Community was the article by Alicia Ford. Alicia raised this question: where is your sanctuary in the midst of life's catastrophes and chaos? We wanted to wrestle with that question with ourselves and with you. So what does sanctuary mean? The first word that comes to me when I hear that word is a place of refuge from danger. I was thus surprised to discover that the first meaning for sanctuary in my dictionary is a holy place, a consecrated place for worship. There's some examples. Someone has written a musical called Sanctuary Story about our Zion National Park. There are wild animal sanctuaries, rescuing and protecting large, exotic wild animals that have been abused in captivity. There's a place called Sanctuary London, describing itself as communities working together for uncommon blessing. Their welcome and care for people who are poor or excluded in some way. So what might sanctuary mean to us here at Murray Grove, in the Ocean County congregation, at a women's retreat, in the quiet on the edge of the Edwin B. Forsyth National Wildlife Preserve? We're not in physical danger. We're not wild animals. We're not desperately poor. We are in a place of worship. Some of us are here in a long-term community. Some of us gathered for a weekend of retreat. How can we provide sanctuary for each other, here, now, and going forward? The Parker Palmer reading suggests to me that a key to sanctuary is discovering our truest selves. It's listening to the deepest parts of our own hearts, and to assist this process, what we can do as a community is to listen to each other. And I offer an overarching mantra, partly from Parker Palmer's words. Listen to your life speak. Listen one another into being, and bless one another. Listen to your own life speak. Listen one another into being, and bless one another. The community can provide the place and the space for each of us to begin to know the true meaning of our lives in the midst of catastrophe or chaos. Creating sanctuary for each other means really listening. It also means reflecting back to the other person so he or she can hear what's in her own heart and what her heart is saying. Vocation, as Palmer says, is a calling that I hear. So one of the gifts our communities can give each other is space and time and quiet. If it is always noisy with talk and activity, individuals will not be able to hear their calling. In this context, sanctuary is a space in which people sanctuary is a space in which people can be who they are and can become who they are called to be. It is a place where people are heard, not corrected or offered solutions or corrections and ends to their problems. And that's my couple of thoughts about sanctuary, and Linda has some to share with you as well.
So one of the tricks of preparing a co-led service on the fly is to not repeat what the previous speaker has said. And I told Carol that I would not, that I would approach the matter of sanctuary from another angle. So I started thinking about refuge. The Latin word refuger means to turn and flee. Some of you may know the Latin phrase tempus fugit. Literally, time flees, a call to get on with the business at hand. A person who flees might be a refugee, or might even be a fugitive. A refuge is a shelter for someone or someone that is fleeing. That refuge will provide a safe hiding place. Sanctuary and refuge became entwined in Constantine's time, when fugitives from the law, provided they did not commit either heresy or murder, and debtors could gain immunity from prosecution. In other words, they could gain refuge by going into certain churches, that is, sanctuaries. Creating sanctuary and seeking refuge are two sides of the same coin. Now you can think in your own mind, where have you sought refuge in your life? In your family, your congregation, with a therapist? Who are the people who have provided refuge for you? When I started thinking, I realized there was a lot of refuge in my lifetime. In Buddhism, a refuge is not a person or a place, but an idea, or rather, several ideas. In all branches of Buddhism, they're agreed on this. They're very different. They're as different as all the Protestant denominations. By all branches of Buddhism, the monks and nuns take this vow. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Buddha. The Buddha here is not only the person we call the Buddha, but the idea that one of us, human beings, found a way out of suffering, which became the Buddhist path. For many of us, I take refuge in the Buddha would mean I take refuge in those teachers and leaders and mentors and examples that inspire us and give us hope. I take refuge in the Dharma. The Dharma means Buddha's teachings, and it also means the practice of following those teachings. We study the teachings of wise people and perform spiritual practices that bring us to a better connection with our true selves and our place in the world. I take refuge in the Sangha. The Sangha is the community of monks and nuns who have sought refuge from the world in the sanctuary of their monastic order. By extension, the Sangha is any group of people who support each other for a spiritual purpose. Creating sanctuary and seeking refuge are indeed two sides of a coin. When we find our teachers, honor and follow their wisdom, and dwell in a spiritual community, a way opens for healing and wholeness. And here is my wish for us, my blessing, expressed in a Buddhist prayer. May we be in peace. May our hearts remain open. May we awaken to the light of our own true nature. May we be healed, and may we be a source of healing to all other beings.